8 real-life experiments that shocked the world. History is filled with experiments that pushed the limits of science, medicine, and human understanding. Some led to important discoveries. Others crossed ethical boundaries so severely that they remain controversial decades later. The first story may seem merely unsettling, but as we move down the list, the events become increasingly disturbing. Story 1: The Resurrection Experiment. In the 1930s, a young scientist named Robert Cornish became obsessed with an impossible question. Could the dead be brought back to life? He built a machine that rocked bodies back and forth while oxygen and chemical solutions were introduced into the bloodstream. After repeated failures with human corpses, he tested the process on dogs. A few animals showed signs of life after being declared dead. They suffered severe brain damage and survived only briefly. Encouraged by the results, Cornish attempted to obtain the body of an executed prisoner for further testing. Authorities refused, and his dream of resurrecting humans ended there. Story 2: The Candy and Cavities Experiment. During the 1940s, Swedish researchers wanted to determine whether sugar truly caused tooth decay. Hundreds of patients at a mental institution were selected as test subjects. They were regularly fed a large amount of candy, caramel, and other sugary foods. As months passed, severe cavities began appearing throughout the group. Some participants suffered extensive damage to nearly all of their teeth. The study successfully proved the connection between sugar and tooth decay. The study successfully proved the connection between sugar and tooth decay, but many criticized the experiment because the patients could not meaningfully consent. Story 3: Operation Sea Spray. In 1950, the United States military secretly released bacteria over San Francisco. Officials feared that enemy nations might someday attack American cities with biological weapons. To understand how germs would spread, researchers dispersed bacterial clouds from ships off the coast. Nearly the entire city unknowingly became part of the experiment. Although the bacteria were believed to be harmless, unusual infections soon appeared in several residents. The operation remained secret for years before becoming public knowledge. Story 4: The Soviet Poison Laboratory. For decades, Soviet scientists operated secret programs dedicated to developing undetectable poisons. Prisoners were reportedly used to test various toxic substances, search for a poison that could kill quickly while leaving almost no evidence behind. Their work eventually contributed to several infamous assassination cases involving journalists, political dissidents, and former intelligence agents. The project became one of the most notorious examples of unethical Cold War research. Story 5: The Tooth Extraction Cure. Dr. Henry Cotton believed mental illness was caused by hidden infections inside the body. To cure patients, he began removing teeth. When that failed, he removed tonsils. When symptoms continued, he ordered even more invasive surgeries. Thousands of psychiatric patients underwent procedures based on his theory. Although Cotton claimed remarkable success, later investigations revealed that many patients had not improved and that some died as a result of the treatments. Story 6. The Syphilis Study. In 1932, hundreds of poor African American men were promised free medical care. What they were not told was that researchers were secretly studying the progression of syphilis. Even after effective treatment became available, many participants were deliberately left untreated so scientists could continue collecting data. The study lasted for decades, resulting in unnecessary suffering, deaths, and infections among family members. When the truth emerged, public outrage followed. Story 7. Nazino Island, the Cannibal Island. In 1933, Soviet authorities transported thousands of deportees to a remote island in Siberia. The plan was to create a self-sustaining settlement that would help develop the region. Instead, the settlers arrived with almost no supplies, little food, and no farming experience. Starvation spread quickly. Violence erupted. As conditions worsened, desperate survivors reportedly turned to cannibalism. Within months, thousands had died, turning the project into a humanitarian disaster. Story 8. The Stanford Prison Experiment. The Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo wanted to study how power influences human behavior. 24 college students volunteered for a prison simulation. Some became guards, while others became prisoners. The experiment was scheduled to last 2 weeks. Within days, the guards began humiliating and psychologically abusing the prisoners. Within days, the guards began humiliating and psychologically abusing the prisoners. Several participants experienced severe emotional distress. The situation became so alarming that the study was terminated after only 6 days. The experiment shocked the world because it demonstrated how quickly ordinary people could adopt cruel behaviors when placed in positions of authority. Even today, psychologists continue debating what the study truly revealed about human nature.